You're watching News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Breaking tonight, a major interstate on the verge of being shut down. Plus, an entire neighborhood has its power cut off as police urge people to evacuate immediately. And a community in shock after their town turns into a lake. We have team coverage of the ongoing flood alert, what we've learned about 3 more storm-related deaths, the race to keep a river in St. Louis from covering a busy street, and 5 on Your Side gets answers for homeowners whose basements are flooded. We start with breaking news. The Missouri National Guard is officially on duty to help flood victims. 30 guardsmen from Jefferson Barracks launched a sandbag operation tonight at the water treatment facility in High Ridge. The plant is currently in danger of flooding, and if that happens, the plant would be closed for cleanup. There's only a couple days worth of water reserves and storage, so residents are being urged to conserve water as much as possible until this issue is resolved. Meanwhile, there's new information from the Army Corps of Engineers. The Mississippi River and its tributaries are threatening to overtop 19 federal levees. The threatened areas include Perry and St. Genevieve counties in Missouri and Randolph County in Illinois. However, the levee protecting the city of St. Genevieve is not believed to be in danger. Also breaking tonight, we are just hours away from the likely closure of a major interstate. Floodwaters are threatening to overtake I-44 near Valley Park. We have team coverage of the latest developments and a new forecast of just how high the river levels are expected to get. Let's kick things off with Jacob Long, who is live along I-44 in St. Louis County.
Well, Ann, you see all of this floodwater here behind me. The entire time we have been out here tonight, we have been watching it grow higher and higher by the second. At this hour, it is threatening multiple fast food restaurants right off Highway 141. But the biggest concern among people here happens in just a few hours when this water is expected to overtake a road thousands of people use every single day. Thousands of gallons of overflowing floodwater might make the perfect backdrop for a photo op for some people.
I'm just coming out to see how bad this flood is tonight. I've heard about it during work.
But in just a few hours, it might just wash out any hope of making it to work on time for thousands of South County drivers.
I would be sad if I have to miss work. I don't want to get fired.
MoDOT expects another 8 feet of water to spill into the area of Interstate 44 and Route 141 overnight Tuesday, meaning by Wednesday morning, 44 is expected to be closed in both directions.
With that amount of water coming on, rising and coming on I-44, we can't fight it. We can't keep it off I-44.
It's a similar situation to what the Valley Park area experienced in 2008. And despite storm drain improvements, MoDOT says this time flood levels will still end up 4 feet higher.
But when it gets to a certain point, we can't hold that back, that whole entire Merrimack River.
So as the last customers leave nearby businesses to get out of harm's way, people are reflecting on how they'll manage without I-44 for the next few days.
I understand there's other ways around not using the interstate, but a lot of those routes are blocked right now as well.
And so what is MoDOT going to do? Well, they say they are going to have posted detours for all of those drivers, how to get around that closed interstate. It's not believed that I-44 will reopen until at least Friday at the earliest. And even then, they say that the interstate will have to undergo inspection so to make sure there's no structural damage. We're live in Valley Park tonight. Jacob Long, News Channel 5.
Developing news in Arnold. Just minutes ago, officials turned off the power in a neighborhood that's in danger of flooding. They're asking people to evacuate now as the water continues to rise. People in Arnold have been sandbagging all day as water started to cover yards and creep towards homes. News Channel 5's Jennifer Meckles is in Arnold to continue our team coverage.
The work is hard and no volunteer too young. It's all hands on deck along Convair Drive in Arnold, where the water is moving faster than they'd planned for.
Just look, people are driving in the water.
Just 24 hours ago, Stacy Robinson was trying to save a neighbor's house from floodwaters. Now,
Everything in garbage bags.
it's her own home at risk.
We still need help. I mean, we really need help. We're saving my house right now.
Arnold officials opened an emergency operations center and 2 command centers Tuesday. Like many cities, people in Arnold are comparing this flood to the big one in 1993.
Right now, they're estimating this to crest at 46.1, which is going to be a significant event that we haven't seen since 1993.
15 minutes south, Kimmswick is also bagging sand and building a bigger levee. Time, or lack of it, is the biggest challenge.
Winter flood like this is very out of the ordinary. And this one came up very quickly, and the order of magnitude is very high.
So on they work, long after sunset, because whether it's the Mississippi in Kimmswick or the Merrimack in Arnold, floodwaters wait for nobody.
Jennifer Meckles reporting. Arnold plans to hold an emergency council meeting tomorrow night to discuss response efforts. Now to a developing story at the Fenton wastewater treatment plant. We've learned the building will be fully submerged by Thursday, and there's no timetable for when it will be back up and running. A flooding-related malfunction is blamed for sending untreated sewage into the Merrimack. Health officials want to stress there is no danger to the drinking water in Fenton, but people who come in contact with tainted floodwaters should thoroughly wash with soap and water. New tonight, the Burbus River has finally crested in Union, but not before leaving behind this jaw-dropping scene in the heart of town. An historic flood that left several businesses with water up to their rooftops. It has been a difficult day, not only for those business owners, but also for residents of the Franklin County community. News Channel 5's Marianne Martinez has been in Union all day. She is live there tonight to continue our flood team coverage. And I know things are receding, Cindy said.
Yes, and thankfully the floodwaters are starting to recede. Around 2 o'clock, the water was here where this white line is. It's come down now several feet down here, but so many businesses in Union, including this QT, are still underwater.
Praying it don't go no higher. I don't know if I could take that.
Dolores Hill fled her home in the middle of the night, and she spent all day watching the water creep slowly toward her front door.
You think about the people that have gone through it, and then you think, was I that uncaring that I didn't know that people had to go through this? But it's devastating.
Well, it looks like it is coming from a vent now.
Union firefighters launched their boat concerned a trailer in this mobile home park was on fire. They also checked to see if there were people inside, but everybody had fled. The Burbus River crested, threatening the closure of Interstate 44 at one point. Across town, several highways were closed, prompting the Franklin County Sheriff to issue a warning that is worth repeating.
A lot of times when water goes over a road, it has a tendency to erode it. So it's really important that people don't try to cross water that's over the road.
Businesses also flooded with the water reaching near the rooftops. Workers wondered if and when they would have jobs.
We could just see everything rising. Every time we went back, it was higher and higher.
By the evening, water started to recede, giving residents hope that the worst was over.
God is wonderful. Maybe he'll pull the plug and it'll all go down.
Governor Nixon is scheduled to come to Franklin County tomorrow at 1:30 to tour the damage and meet with officials. We are live in Union. Marianne Martinez, News Channel 5.
New tonight, 3 more people have been confirmed dead in Missouri and Illinois. The bodies of a man and woman were found today near Taylorville in Christian County. Authorities say they were trying to cross a flooded area and drowned. Meanwhile, police in Pulaski County found the body of a missing international soldier. He was one of 5 who died when a car was swept off the road near Crocker this weekend. There have been nearly 20 flood-related deaths in Missouri and Illinois. More than 500 volunteers have completed a sandbagging operation along the River Des Peres in St. Louis. Volunteers and city staff shoveled 630 tons of sand into 36,000 sandbags today. They got there at 7 a.m. They built a wall between Morgan Ford and Alabama, just trying to hold back those rising floodwaters. We caught up with 2 of these volunteers, a father and son who belong to a local Boy Scout troop.
I think it's important to see that, there's a bigger cause, more to life than, what we do every day. And, here's where it comes down to, what's really important in life, and that's, helping the people around you.
There were enough sandbags left over to help people in Jefferson County. Crews then trucked 1,500 sandbags to the water treatment plant in High Ridge we were telling you about. New tonight, the Red Cross has opened a shelter for flood victims in St. Charles County. Anyone who needs a place to get food or sleep can go to Francis Howell North High School. That is in the 2500 block of Hackman Road. The Red Cross has also opened shelters in Arnold, Pacific, Bethalto, and Granite City. One of the hardest hit areas in St. Charles County is the community of West Alton. More than 500 people there were told to evacuate because water overtopped a levee. Highways 67 and 94 are already flooded in some areas. Gas stations along 67 have even taken out the gas pumps because of the threat of flooding. So far, no homes in this area are flooded, but residents expect that will change. Across the river in Alton, the city is banking on new barriers to hold back the rising river. City officials had a new flood wall built from sand and concrete. The mayor says the river will continue to be at dangerous levels through Thursday, but he is hopeful the wall will hold. The scenes from the sky, they have just been remarkable, probably reminding many of you at home of the flood of '93. Our chopper has been documenting the damage all day long. Here's a look at some of the most powerful images from the air. We showed some of this to you earlier, but it's worth a closer look. This video made international headlines. Businesses in Union, Missouri underwater. A gas station, fast food restaurants, even a hardware store all look like they were built in the middle of a lake. Check out what the flooding in West Alton looks like from the air. The river is expected to crest here Thursday, more than 17 feet above flood stage. That would be the second highest ever, only behind the Great Flood of 1993. And here's what Route 141 looked like near Interstate 44 in Fenton. It's expected to be closed for a couple more days. And as Jacob Long told you earlier, I-44 is also on the verge of being shut down. And new tonight, evacuations in Eureka, where 6 families are trying to escape floodwaters. They live on a street near Highway 109 that's appropriately named River Ends Drive. The families tell us it's flooded before, and they've been preparing for a couple of days.
Our church is probably, I'm going to guess, maybe 100 people. That's a pretty round guess. I don't really know. But I'll bet 30-something of them have showed up this weekend to help, or this last 2 days to help us. It's amazing.
Most of the houses are actually set up so they can be hosed down after flooding. After the flood of 2008, the families were able to move back in the next day. It looks like this popular actor could be singing his swan song. The disgusting accusation that's put this Glee star behind bars. And taking a beating from a toy. Mike Tyson's home video of his hoverboard fail. Plus shattered glass after this shakeup in West County. We have the latest on the victims hurt after a driver takes out an entire wall. Scary moments this afternoon on Manchester Road in Baldwin. A driver lost control and slammed into this Smoothie King. It happened near the intersection of Manchester and Baxter Road. We're told 2 people were hurt, the driver and then a worker inside the store. Both of them have minor injuries. The city of St. Louis sent the NFL its proposal for that billion-dollar stadium along the Mississippi River. The proposal would require the Rams to sign on as a 30-year tenant. It would also require the Rams to accommodate a Major League Soccer team. The Rams are one of 3 teams, along with the Raiders and Chargers, who could relocate to Los Angeles. The NFL is expected to make a decision next month. A Chicago police officer who shot a teenager 16 times pleaded not guilty to murder charges. Jason Van Dyke appeared in court this morning. He is charged with murder for last year's deadly shooting of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. The release of video footage last month set off weeks of protests in Chicago. Officer Van Dyke, who is no longer being paid, has been free since posting bond. The Texas boy known as the Affluenza Teen will return to the U.S. tomorrow. Ethan Couch escaped with his mom to Mexico after he apparently violated his probation. They were captured yesterday in the Mexican resort town of Puerto Vallarta. Couch's case gained worldwide attention after he killed 4 people while driving drunk. He claimed he didn't understand the consequences of his actions because of his affluent upbringing. A judge agreed, and Couch avoided jail time.
What we suspected all along had happened, that they had planned to disappear, that they even had something that was almost akin to a going away party before they left town.
An arrest warrant is being issued for Couch's mom. She'll be charged with hindering an apprehension. If she's found guilty, she could face 2 to 10 years in prison. An actor from the TV show Glee has been arrested in a child porn case. Mark Saling is accused of possessing child pornography. Police served a warrant at his Southern California home today. Saling is best known for playing Noah Puckerman on Glee for several seasons. There is still a massive cleanup effort happening tonight in Texas, days after a tornado ripped through several towns near Dallas. One family whose house was destroyed found a miracle among the rubble. Gina Berkshire and her family were evacuated and couldn't return for 2 days. When they were finally allowed back in, they heard a familiar sound beneath the broken wood. They started digging, and there they found their dog, Sawyer, alive, hiding underneath the debris from 2 houses.
Oh my gosh, I have not been able to sleep these past few nights thinking, and then the rain and the cold, and I was just praying.
Sawyer, while dirty and in some pain, is expected to be okay. 5 on Your Side is getting answers for homeowners with flooded basements. Historic rainfall is finding its way into a lot of homes and businesses. Sometimes prevention can make a difference. Other times, there's just too much rain and homeowners are forced to deal with it. Here's 5 on Your Side's Art Holiday.
We've never really had any issues. We've never had water in the basement.
Instead of hoverboarding with his son, John Schrader's Christmas vacation was interrupted Monday by water in the basement, and his wet, dry vacuum wasn't enough to solve the problem.
12-gallon capacity and emptied it probably 12 to 13 times.
He actually removed about 200 gallons of water before we got here.
Justin Woodard of Woodard Cleaning and Restoration says these cracks in the Schrader basement couldn't withstand days of heavy rainfall.
The vast majority of what we're seeing in homes is the groundwater not having anywhere else to go.
Soaked carpet padding has to go. The basement has to be dried out, a common problem in the St. Louis region following days of historic rainfall.
We had over 300 phone calls about water damage from homes and businesses. There's actually a lot of things you can do to prevent the water from coming into your home. Make sure your landscaping, is going away from your home. So especially if you've got window wells, make sure that your gutters are clear of debris, leaves. If you do have a sump pump in your basement, make sure that you test it.
For the Schraders, multiple foundation cracks will have to be repaired and a sump pump installed. Insurance may not pay for damage or repairs.
They informed us that it's likely not covered because this would be considered a flood, even though there's no flood around us and we're at the top of a hill.
It is always a good idea to check your home insurance policy so you know what's covered when it comes to flooded basements. If you're dealing with flooding issues at your home, we want to hear about it. Send an email to 5onyourside@ksdk.com, or you can call us at 314-444-5231. The pictures we've gotten all day from viewers from our helicopter, Cindy, are just incredible. You have one for us now.
I do, and this one comes from downtown Alton. We're seeing some flooding now on the streets in the downtown area. The National Weather Service has just extended that flash flood warning for northeastern St. Charles County now until 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's because we're still getting some overtopping of these levees. It happened this afternoon, still going on, evacuations in the West Alton area. So this is now a flash flood warning that is going to continue now all night into tomorrow morning until 7 a.m. We'll see what it looks like by that time. Boy, I'm telling you, the Mississippi River, all these areas are in major flood. Grafton, Alton, St. Louis, Chester. Chester is the one that will have a record crest. It will tie the record crest, at least at this point is what we're thinking, on Friday, 22.7 feet above flood stage, but the Merrimack River is the worst of them all. Pacific, Eureka, Valley Park, Arnold. Valley Park, we've had to increase now the level up to 43 feet on Thursday. That would be 27 feet above flood stage. All of these are going to be record crests starting tomorrow into Thursday. Even a few other rivers, Old Monroe, that's high there, also major flooding. Hardin as well on the Illinois River. Union, thankfully, has crested this afternoon at a record level. Now it's starting to fall, so that is certainly good news. We've got moderate flooding in the Burnsville area in the Big River. Gasconade, Herman, also major flooding, but Herman is now starting to fall as well. Washington, St. Charles, along the Missouri rivers, also at moderate flood stage. We've got something else going on. We don't have any precipitation falling. However, look at this. Snow is now starting to show up on radar. A little disturbance coming in from the west, and I think We might see some snowflakes tomorrow morning, even here in St. Louis. Will it accumulate? Not likely. That'll most likely be off to the west and the north. Computer modeling wants to just bring this thing right across the northern and western part of Missouri into Illinois. But look how it cuts right across Pike County. That's why I'm thinking that we're going to see at least a little bit. 1/10 of an inch not out of the question in some spots. That would be to the north and the west, getting as close as maybe the Chesterfield Valley. So there could be some slick spots on the roads west and north of St. Louis tomorrow morning. Bree Smith will be here for Today in St. Louis. She'll get you through that commute. 37 tomorrow. We should have a cold day again as we head into Thursday, but the sunshine will be back, so certainly that is good news. Right now it's 33 degrees. We've got cloudy skies, winds very light out of the northwest. So here's your forecast. Temperatures stay in the 30s. The rivers will begin to fall. We have crests running from tonight through Friday. After that, dry weather, and that's going to help out a great deal. Lots of sunshine this weekend. Temperatures begin to warm up after we get done with the New Year holiday.
So these cold temperatures, does that block rivers with ice chunks? I mean, does
Not
that
yet.
impede things?
No, we've been so warm. There's
Okay.
just no ice right now, and it really takes some really bitterly cold temperatures to cause problems.
All right, Cindy, thank you. Mike Tyson knocked out tons of people in his career, but he is no match for a hoverboard. See the fall that took down Iron Mike. Plus, the winners of $1 million jackpot come forward, the St. Louis group that cashed in the winning lottery ticket. And the Blues needed some late game heroics after blowing a big lead against the Predators.
The News Channel 5 Sports Desk is sponsored by Royal Gate Automotive Group.
There are no easy nights for the Blues. They held a 2-goal lead this evening in the third, only to give up 2, and then go to overtime against the Predators. Captain David Backus had a nice hello for former Blue Bear Jackman. The kid, Robbie Fabry, is going to be a pretty good one. He turned on the red light in the second with his 9th goal of the season, and the Blues were up 2-1. But they would settle it in overtime, and Alexander Steen put an end to it with his 13th goal of the season. 4-3 St. Louis was the final. Hey, Mizzou had some fun tonight with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Terrence Phillips to Ryan Rosberg, the Marquette grad, with the jam. Mizzou up by 16. Later, Wes Clark went deep to Namon Wright. Mizzou led by 27 at halftime. After the break, Kevin Puryear showed off his hops. Yeah, Mizzou won 78-25. St. Louis U was on the road tonight at K-State. The Billikens were in it early. Austin Gilman dropped in 3, and they were down by 1. But in the second half, the Wildcats ran wild. Justin Edwards getting up for the throwdown. K-State won 75-47. St. Louis U is now 5-7 on the season. We go to the semifinals of the Coaches versus Cancer tournament. CBC played undefeated Jennings. The Cadets called on their big man in this one. 6'7", Dwayne Clark, and he came through with the baby hook. CBC won 62-51. The Cadets will play Hazelwood Central for the championship. Howell played Pattonville in the semifinals of the MICDS tourney. The Pirates made the highlights with a splash. Elijah Dudley put it up, and Richard Henderson put it down. The Vikings countered from the outside, though. Clayton Ambrose hit from way downtown. Howell won 69-51. The Vikings will play Westminster for the championship. We go to the Chaminade tournament, where 9-1 Soldan played Northwest Academy. The Tigers worked the ball down low to Devin Smart, and this kid can jump. The Hornets answered with a casual three-pointer by Charles James. But Soldan pulled out a 72-61 win. Parkway South played Parkway Central at the MICDS tournament. Some nice passing by the Colts. They worked the ball down low to Gerald Lenore. He scored the dipsy-do for 2. Parkway Central won 61-59. And that is it for sports tonight. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Staff Sergeant Eve Dorshorst with the 421st Black Widow Spider Wing here at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. I'd just like to wish my dad, my sister, and Jamie a happy Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays in Missoula, Montana, as well as my godmother, my little cousin Constance, Danielle, Jamie, everyone else in St. Louis, Missouri, as well as all my family in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Florida. Happy holidays, guys. I'm staying safe. Thank you very much.
We've all heard about the dangers of hoverboards. Check out what happened to boxing legend Mike Tyson. Iron Mike posted this video on Instagram of him falling over right here on that hoverboard at his house. We've muted the audio because you're going to be so surprised. Tyson starts cursing when he gets knocked out. We're told he's just fine other than being a little bit embarrassed. Not too embarrassed because he posted the video. 8 post office workers will split a $1 million Powerball jackpot. The group bought a winning ticket last week at the Quick Trip on South Vandeventer. The men played to split the jackpot evenly. That means each will receive about $125,000. That's before taxes. The Quick Trip that sold the winning ticket will get a $1,000 bonus check. That is News Channel 5 at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next with guests Mark Wahlberg and Sheryl Crow. Join us for Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m.